dollar bears seem to be hibernating in the middle of summer. But to a certain degree, I think things have become a little bit undone to the extent that we've got concerns about the Delta variant, which are quite evident. They were very evident in the revisions to the World Economic Outlook by the IMF last night. And from that perspective, China, there's been renewed concerns potentially with the policy outlook for China and the growth outlook for China, which has meant that people are bearish, but that bearishness in terms of the potential for growth has lent support to the dollar. And that's what is consistent with the record low negative real rates in the United States, but the dollar still doing relatively well comparative to its peers.
So does it buy time here, or does it gain more momentum, you think, towards the end of the year when the whole issue around inflation, rates, all of that gains steam?
From our perspective, I mean, what we did a couple of weeks ago when the Chinese officials cut the reserve requirement ratio is that we revised our dollar-China forecast from 6.3 to 6.55 for the end of the third quarter. But we still maintain that the renminbi will appreciate by the end of the year to 6.3, slightly revised up from 6.2. So we do see it as, from an Asian currency perspective, as an intermediate risk for the third quarter that the dollar will be relatively firmer. But ultimately, we still think the export cycle will drive some appreciation in Asia. That said, for the G10 currencies, we're still looking for euro dollar to go to 115 by the end of the year and dollar yen to head towards 116. But I think as we get to the fourth quarter, we'll still see some improvement on the vaccination side in Asia. We'll still see the export cycle come through. And the low yield environment will be to the benefit of some of the fixed income markets in Asia. We're seeing that clearly in China. We're seeing Indonesian bonds get some support as well. So I see it as an intermediate third quarter weakness for Asian currencies, followed by some strength coming into the fourth quarter.
Talk to me about the Australian dollar, which has been languishing below the 74 mark, right, Claudio? And I mean, look, the commodity story is still strong. The CIB Raw Industrials Index, I think, is at around a 10-year high. So what's holding it back, and what needs to happen for it to be able to move forward?
I think you're right. It's a bit of a paradox. Despite some of the concerns going on, we've got copper prices, we've still got iron ore demand still relatively robust from China. I think some of the concerns, which is a bit strange this time, are more related to the domestic economy, the lower vaccination rates in Australia, and the labour market recovery. So from some perspective, you know, the Aussie dollar outlook looks robust in terms of the external environment and the commodity demand. And so I do think it will get some support going forward. So I don't think all is lost on the Aussie dollar. I just think it's partly a little bit of uncertainty in terms of the domestic situation with the vaccination and so forth. But as we get through the year, I think the external side will provide support to the Aussie dollar going forward, yes.